Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, two of the greatest inventors of their time. Between them, they helped revolutionize electricity forever. But this did not come without cost. It came with a battle of the currents, or more commonly known as the War of the Currents. The lack of compromise between Edison and Tesla during their early relationship resulted in the War of the Currents, a battle between Tesla and Edison. When Edison told Tesla, who worked for Edison, he would pay him to modify his dynamos, and then didn't, he quit, and rightfully so. Tesla won when his AC was used to power the Chicago's World Fair. His technological advances helped create conduction of electricity through gases and the harnessing of the power from Niagara Falls. In 1882, Thomas Edison harnessed electricity for the first time, and even founded a company around it, the Edison Electric Light Company, with a motor he named direct current, or DC. However, there was a problem with Edison's new way of power. It could only travel about 2 kilometers because of line loss. Essentially, the charge of electricity was lost after it traveled around 2 kilometers. The only thing Edison could do was have a power plant for direct current close to homes and businesses. This was a problem which Edison failed to solve. However, in Croatia, Nikola Tesla had created alternating current, or AC. He moved to America to find someone who would help him develop his idea and ended up working for Thomas Edison. Tesla believed he had the solution to Edison's problem, which ended up being alternating current. But Edison called his ideas impractical and wild, possibly out of stubbornness. This was a mistake on his part. Tesla proposed that by lowering the amount of amps in the electric currents and upping the voltage, he'd be able to create a current that could move further distances, and he was right. Edison was simply being stubborn and prideful that his idea was correct. However, even though Edison thought of Tesla as an impractical genius, Tesla eventually convinced Edison to improve the efficiency of his prototype dynamos, which is a generator, even though he thought Tesla would not be able to do so. Tesla claimed that Edison promised him $50,000 if he succeeded. Tesla began work immediately. He worked for months and made significant progress, but when he went to claim his money, Edison said he was only joking, and is quoted as saying, "When you become a full-fledged American, you will appreciate an American joke." Instead of his well-earned reward, Edison offered Tesla a $10 a week raise instead. When Edison told Tesla this, he was outraged and immediately quit. He then took up many odd jobs around New York City. Eventually, he raised enough money to found the Tesla Electric Light Company. Now Tesla and Edison would compete to become the victor of the War of the Currents, and create the supreme current. Sadly, Tesla quitting destroyed what could have been something that could have helped the world. It doesn't end there, though. Tesla and Edison would continue to fight against each other. They could have compromised many times throughout the story and failed to, leading into a battle which would determine the best current.
Direct current is a flow of electricity that goes in one straight direction, while alternating current bounces around and switches constantly. Direct current has lower volts and more amps. Amps are how the current is measured. Because there are so many more amps, electricity is lost much quicker than traveling through the wire. This means direct current can only be sent a short distance until it's basically gone. Alternating current, however, is the opposite of direct current. It has way fewer amps, but in turn many more volts. Edison thought this made it more dangerous, but studies today can't prove that. Unlike direct current, alternating current can be sent much further distances. Tesla preferred alternating current. He suggested that Edison begin researching alternating current and primarily use it instead. Edison shot down the idea and continued to build upon direct current, saying it was safer. Finally, Tesla quit and began working on his own. Later, he paired with George Westinghouse to develop alternating current generators. Westinghouse helped with the business aspect and how to expand their generating stations throughout the world, while Tesla worked to develop alternating current. Edison was trying to convince everyone that alternating current was dangerous and that they should use direct current instead. This was known as Edison's propaganda war. Edison hired a man named Harold Brown to steal an alternating current generator and study it. He used the generator to electrocute animals, including dogs and elephants, to demonstrate its danger. There were public electrocutions and even killed a criminal to prove his point. Edison even went as far to say, "Just as certain as death, Westinghouse will kill a customer within 6 months after he puts it in a system of any size. It will never be free of danger." However, this wasn't enough to convince the public. Most people still preferred alternating current because of its ability to travel long distances. This has a lot to do with conflict, but the compromise is hard to find. By choosing one current over the other, both Tesla and Edison compromised what they believed to be the most important attributes of electricity. Tesla liked having long-distance abilities, but compromised by having a current which was thought to be more dangerous at the time. Edison, however, was the opposite. They should have compromised a long time ago. They refused to work together.
In 1893, Westinghouse and Tesla battled for the opportunity to power the Chicago's World Fair. They were going to power the fairgrounds with alternating current, and Edison and Harold Brown were unhappy with this idea. Edison, aided by financial advisor J.P. Morgan, first bid for $1.8 million. Obviously, this did not go over well, so they tried again with $554,000. However, unbeknownst to Edison, Westinghouse bid $399,000 and won the right to power the fair. In a final last-ditch effort to destroy any reliability that AC had, Edison arranged for alternating current to be used in the world's first electric chair. He did this to try and discredit Tesla and Westinghouse and show that AC was dangerous. The executioners used it on murderer William Kemmler, who was convicted of the murder of his common-law wife. Edison had someone killed by AC just to try and destroy Tesla's reputation when he was trying to spread something better. When the executioners strapped William Kemmler into the chair and turned it on, they had to keep the electricity flowing through him for 17 minutes. When they finally shut off the power, his body was still moving in small jerky movements. The scientists present simply called it an after effect of the amount of electricity that he was exposed to. However, they were still powering the chair up again, and they did not power off the machine until Kemmler's flesh was smoking. Despite all the negative things being said and done against them, Westinghouse and Tesla were still going to illuminate the World's Fair. This was around the first time the first Ferris wheel, called the Chicago Wheel, was created, along with the world's first public moving walkway, phosphorescent lamps, Cracker Jack, juicy fruit gum, Quaker Oats, cream of wheat, shredded wheat, and the hamburger, chocolate, and spray painting. One of the most visited exhibits was on electricity. Thomas Edison did not allow Tesla and Westinghouse to use the light bulb he had created, however. They had to create a light bulb in a very short time, but they did manage it. They were able to power the fair, and Nikola Tesla won the War of the Currents. Eric Larson, an attendee at the fair, said this about it: "If the evenings at the fair were seductive, the nights were ravishing. The lamps that laced every building and walkway produced the most elaborate demonstration of electric illumination ever attempted, and the first large-scale testing of alternating current. The fair alone consumed 3 times as much electricity as the entire city of Chicago." These were important engineering milestones, but what visitors adored was the sheer beauty of seeing so many lights ignited in one place at one time. Every building, including the Manufacturers and Liberal Arts Building, was outlined in white bulbs. Giant searchlights, the largest ever made, and said to be visible 60 miles away, had been mounted on the manufacturer's roof and swept the grounds and surrounding neighborhoods. Large colored bulbs lit the 100-foot plumes of water that burst from McMoney's fountain. It was like getting a sudden vision into heaven. After the War of the Currents, Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse decided to use alternating current for better things. They started to create the Niagara Falls power plant. It was something Tesla had dreamed of for years. They completed it in 1895. Sadly, many people were not impressed. He said the same thing 4 years ago, and so far as I've been able to judge, there was really nothing startling in his demonstration of Tuesday. He merely performed what he has said all along he would perform, stated one electrician. Still, Tesla kept working. He was attempting to create wireless technology by electrifying air. He wanted to use Niagara Falls to power New York wirelessly, and he would eventually use this technology to power Paris. While doing this, Edison was trying to harness the ocean with wave motors. The way wave motors work is they will detect fluctuations in the ocean and use them to compress air, and then they would be sent to power plants, which helped to power buildings. Both Edison and Tesla were on their way to complete beautiful things, but one day, George Westinghouse asked Tesla to take suspended pay. For the royalties Tesla was receiving, about $48,000 per month, for a while, because he was having trouble with cash flow. Tesla decided he would quit working for Westinghouse, but he did sell him his patents. There are many payments that Tesla was said to receive, but he received $6.2 million for his patents. After many years of failed experiments, however, Tesla lost most of his money and died broke and alone in a New York hotel. Both of these electrical titans created great things in their time, even if they had struggles in the past, and when they died, they left behind a legacy.
Today, the world compromises how electricity is used by using both alternating current and direct current, but keeps alternating current wires at a safe height. Think about power lines. They transmit alternating current. Once it gets to a house, there can be a transformer to switch it to direct current so people have a less chance of getting injured. A computer cord, for example, is a small box that goes from the outlet to your computer. This is called a transformer. What comes out of the outlet is alternating current, but when it goes through the transformer, it becomes direct current. Back then, however, this compromise had not been discovered. It was either short-distance direct current or dangerous alternating current. Luckily, today we have found some alternate ways of directing our electricity.